In this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate the process for actually creating the Learning Experience Unit model visualization that will go within this main section. The purpose of the visualization is to describe in visual terms what a learning experience should include, and we do this by using various building blocks. So this is the Learning Experience Unit model that will place that visualization in. I'm going to minimize that for just a moment and go here to our drawing canvas. And what we have here is the e-IDViz toolkit. And when we actually go to draw out what the learning experience unit will be, we'll basically drag these components over into this canvas to help describe how that learning experience unit happens. So for example, in this case, we know that learners are going to have to identify the types of innovation adopter types or categories. And so what I'm going to have here is use this symbol, which represents an artifact or something that a learner uses to demonstrate their competency in a particular area. And I know that I'm going to be delivering this course, let's say, completely online in an asynchronous format. So I'm going to take this particular shape and I'm going to drag it over there. So I know that I have an artifact here that's going to actually be in the form of a quiz. And I'm going to go and add a comment here to just remind myself that this is in the format of a quiz. And you'll notice now that this has a little a comment bubble that I can always go back to if I have questions about what I was thinking to include in that. Now, so once we have that artifact out, we know that we're not just going to end with that particular artifact. The learner needs to be able to engage in some things to help them get to that end result. So in order to do that, we're going to kind of work backwards, and we know that there may be some practice involved. So I'm going to take this asynchronous online practice element, and I'm going to drag that over here to the canvas as well. I'm also will likely want some to provide some feedback. So I'm going to include that feedback item, which is represented by that symbol. I also may want the students to be able to discuss some of these things and what they mean, adopter categories or types mean in innovation studies. And finally, there's likely going to be some sort of resources that I want the learners to review. That may be a video, or it may be a textbook reading, it could be a journal article. There's all sorts of things that may result there. So what I have here is a series of building blocks, essentially, that represent what that learning experience is going to be. And I can use these building blocks in all different types of organizations and fashions to describe what that experience is going to be for the learners. So to begin kind of connecting here, I know that the practice is going to go into the artifact of where they demonstrate. I also noticing here that I want to maybe provide some feedback on that final artifact. So I'm going to drag another feedback item in and connect that. I know I'm going to provide some feedback here on this practice exercise. And then let's say that there's going to be some student dialogue that will actually run into the practice, so I'm going to connect that as well. But the very first thing is I want the learner to be able to review the reading, for example. So here I'm going to add a comment that says I have an article on innovation. I'll include that. Maybe the discussion topic here is going to deal with adopter types. And then maybe the practice is going to be creating a matrix of adopter types. And you notice that these are very short. It's not intended to take very long, but I'm going to provide feedback on the matrix of adopter types. And then finally I'm going to provide feedback on the final artifact, which we may actually want to define here as being as a paper or something like that. So I can always go back to that, or it's actually going to be a quiz. So I'm going to provide feedback on that quiz there, but I'm going to provide enough detail that we can go back and describe what that means. But here essentially we have the basic building blocks and the bones of this particular learning experience that match with that objective. And in just a few moments I was able to assemble this quickly and also be able to describe to you what the experience is going to look like for the learner and how I as a course designer will go about building that within my particular course.